When it came time to read for the Lou Grant role on the Mary Tyler Moore show, you described your reading that you read it kind of as wildly as you could, that you read it as mushugana as you could, and the result was, of course, an icon, a TV icon.
I love the way you say that, Sean.
I butcher it, I'm sure. Template for editors to come. When it came time to make the transition from half-hour comedy into hour-long drama, same character, how did you negotiate that change?
I think during the course of Mary Tyler Moore, the 7 years I did that, I used my two older brothers a lot. Big, scheming, clever, sly, malicious. Used a lot of that for the comedy. And it helped. When I made the transition, first, it's going from the dark side of the moon to the light side, or whichever you want to make it. You're going from a half-hour, 3-camera audience participation, which we adored and loved and cherished, into single-camera, hour dramedy we prefer to call Lou Grant. No audience. And of course, even the crew couldn't laugh when a laugh occurred. So I was under strict cautionary guidance from Jay Sandrich, who directed all of Mary Tyler Moore, and Alan Burns and Jim Brooks, who were my producers from Mary, producing Lou Grant. They said, you've got to carry the flag. You'll be the only one from the past. You've got to, always keep alive the flag of Lou Grant there. Yeah, okay, I got it, Chief. So that I went into the show, no laughs, and yet there are chuckles all the way through. And finally, when we came on the air, and I was in therapy at the time, one of those fruitless quests in therapy, and I said to my therapist, "What do you think of the show?" He said, And I said, "Well," you have any comments? He says, "Why do you grimace so much?" And I realized, oh my God, since I didn't have laughs, I was grimacing to indicate when the audience at home should laugh. Now, the shows still look good, the first shows, but I said, oh, Jesus Christ. And so I began to then say, I can't do my brothers anymore. I have to find somebody else to be more honest with this role. And I went into myself and began playing the moody, lachrymose, depressed Lou Grant. That's what you got.
Do you watch still either the old Marys or the old Lou's? And
Well, I'll give you a little fillip to that one. We were under such pressure. Nobody had ever done an hour show. They had done half hours. They had done single episodes, movies. Nobody had ever been on an hour series. Producers, even the grips, even they hadn't done. So we were all busy looking for our asses, and it was terribly stressful. And we got through went to a cocktail party and ran into the head of CBS, and I was moaning, worrying about the fact our ratings were so low. And as a means of cheering me up, he said, oh, don't worry. If it doesn't go, we'll do something else. And I said, that's not what I want to hear. So we got through the first year. We won Emmys, thank God, to make us look good. And as we went into the second year, and I knew I was going into that same stressful situation, my wife was in the East, and I was home with the kids, and I was late as usual, and I ran into the bathroom to go to the first day of work, and I left my double-edged razor opened more than I realized, and came to shave, and I cut a flap in my sideburn. So I rushed myself to St. Joe's Hospital, waited an hour and a half. Fortunately, it was a plastic surgeon, and he put 20 stitches, plastic surgeon stitches in there. And I came back and worked that afternoon. But I think it was a psychological, I was aiming for my throat is what I was. I didn't have my glasses on.
The Lou Grant series ended, arguably, and you've argued, because you were so outspoken on Central America and El Salvador. And you've been obviously active and outspoken on many other issues. More recently, you've been among those who has called for a closer look at what went on during 9/11. Is that a more difficult or less difficult? How does that compare to the causes that you've been associated with in the past? Because rightly or wrongly, this is a cause that is perceived as being more fringe.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make it more difficult?
Yeah, on the Central American issue, I was merely dismissed as a commie traitor. With 9/11, and you try to give people your talking points as to why it was an inside job. The vast body of Americans, no matter how intelligent, they will look at you as if you've been touched. You are out of your goddamn mind. And they don't want to necessarily contradict me, but they start looking for the exit. Mm-hmm. And I have found that what it is one of two things. Most people would not dream of questioning authority. It is either a case of not questioning authority or something so horrendous as that would destroy the fairy tale myth of the America we've all grown up to believe in. And they couldn't. There is no Santa Claus, in other words. If that's the truth, there is no Santa Claus. So they cannot abide hearing that. So they run from it in that respect. So it's the vast body of people I talk to who...
I mean, during the El Salvador thing, the Central America thing, you received death threats, you had armed guards keeping an eye on you, there were protests outside your home. Does that, how do the two compare?
I get no... I guess we're so far out, we're no longer that we're not regarded as a... there are groups calling for the re-examination of 9/11 all over the place. There's architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, 1,500 architects and engineers. Every group in the world, police, writers, doctors, but the media, the corporate media, ignores it all.
Was it